All right, let's dive right in. Today, we're unpacking the sheer genius behind a wildly successful channel called Everything Professor. By dissecting their content strategy, we're essentially mapping out exactly what captures the curiosity of the modern learner. It is really a masterclass in holding attention. So, to put things into perspective, 4.6 million. That is the number of people who clicked on just one single explainer about drugs and their effects. And that was in a mere 6 months. I mean, think about the scale of that for a second. It just proves there's this massive, undeniable appetite out there for really clear, direct information on complex or even kind of taboo subjects. So, how exactly are they doing it? Well, the creator behind Everything Professor has basically cracked the code on how to take difficult, dark, and highly practical topics and distill them down into a format that's just irresistible. They've built an incredibly loyal audience of almost 500,000 subscribers by delivering on a very specific promise, making the complex totally digestible. We're going to treat their library like a structured syllabus today, covering 5 key areas: the Everything Professor phenomenon, decoding the human condition, the brutal animal kingdom, debunking myths and surviving, and finally, the premium knowledge vault. Let's start with Section 1, the Everything Professor phenomenon. When you look at the sheer scale and operational efficiency here, the numbers tell a wild story about prioritizing quality over quantity. They've hit 437,000 loyal subscribers with a highly curated library of only 56 videos. That ratio of output to audience capture is staggering. Plus, they are constantly expanding, actively hiring editors and animators so they can scale up production without losing that curated magic. Moving on to Section 2, decoding the human condition. This is where we see exactly what subjects drive millions of clicks. They are tapping directly into our most fundamental desires: physical well-being, mental safety, and practical life skills. For physical health, that drugs and effects piece dominates with 4.6 million views. Under mental health, mental disorders pulled 2.2 million, right alongside manipulation tactics at 2.3 million. And for practical life, a piece breaking down basic financial concepts brought in 1.7 million. They are literally mapping out human needs. And get this, a simple breakdown of sleeping positions and their effects captured the attention of 2.4 million people in just 2 months. It's absolutely wild. It just goes to show that sometimes the most mundane, everyday habits hold the biggest potential for mass curiosity, as long as they're explained clearly and systematically. Section 3, the brutal animal kingdom. Shifting gears away from human nature, we enter a totally different and, honestly, pretty dark territory. They use this stark thematic contrast to keep you hooked. One minute they're showcasing overpowered animals that hunt massive prey, and the next they're pivoting to the tragic realities of nature, like animals with secretly depressing lives or the most deformed dog breeds. It's the complete, brutal spectrum of nature. Now, while their human-focused content peaks in the multi-millions, this animal curriculum is definitely more niche. Right now, their top video here sits at about 85,000 views. But what this really shows us is a creator testing new waters, finding a dedicated, albeit smaller, audience that is super passionate about natural history. They also push the boundaries of perspective in some really cool ways. For instance, leaning into obscure topics like experiencing life through these strict ranks of a bee colony. Pulling nearly 7,000 views in just 2 days, it shows they aren't just explaining an animal, they're fully immersing you in a completely alien ecosystem. Section 4, debunking myths and surviving. Here, they tackle their core ethos head-on. Difficult topics, simply explained. It almost acts like a modern survival guide, right? They leverage our innate anxieties to teach us how to optimize and protect our lives, fixing common sleep mistakes for 54,000 viewers, avoiding common causes of death for another 52,000, and incredibly, a piece on discovering unknown common deformities captured almost 800,000 views in a single week. It is highly personal, totally actionable information. This is where they expertly use the curiosity gap. By presenting completely wrong history facts that you probably still believe, they force you to immediately question foundational truths about society. It directly challenges what you think you know, which is just brilliant for engagement. Finally, Section 5, the Premium Knowledge Vault. Let's talk about what they deem valuable enough to lock behind a paywall. They position highly relevant, almost forbidden knowledge as an exclusive members-only tier. Want to know the hidden advantages of AI taking over? Or maybe how the agricultural revolution actually made life worse? Or how to defend yourself against manipulation tactics used by salespeople? You have to become a paying member. They found the exact sweet spot between high value and intense curiosity. So as we wrap up this explainer of their content strategy, I want to leave you with a thought about your own curiosity. The data here shows exactly what humanity is hungry to learn right now: how to survive, how to understand our own minds, and how the world actually operates. If you could only master one of these curriculums, understanding yourself, mastering nature, or predicting society, which would you choose?